Hello, how are you today? I'm good. I went to the chiropractor. I always enjoy that. He's very funny. So, what I wanted to tell you about today, it's kind of the end of a mini-series in my head about people having an effect upon other people just by being in tune with themselves. A few years ago, I went with my mum, a good few years ago actually, I went with my mum to see something. She said, come and see something spiritual with me at the Albert Hall. So I'm like, okay, I'm always up for going to the Albert Hall anyway. And it was free, double. My mum, she'd do anything if it was free. Jumped out of a plane, aged 80. They asked her on the telly, why did you do it? She said, it was free. That's not made up. Anyway, back to the story. So we went to the Albert Hall and it was to see a guru talking, but it was more than that. It was about looking scientifically at something, which I'll explain in a minute, which is about how people affect other people. So they had this guru called Daddy Jenki, as a woman, D-A-D-I, and they had a EEG on her head, tracing her the electricity in the brain. And they put next to her Uri Geller. Well, anybody who's ever seen him bending spoons or doing whatever he does on television knows how frenetic the man is. He's an exercise addict. He literally exercises for many hours in the day. He cannot sit still. He's all over the shop. So they had him sit down. He couldn't even sit still to start off with. And this lady, who clearly, I don't feel lady seems calling her rude, calling her a lady. She's some being, actually. She was clearly sitting there radiating love, like it was visible. I don't know how, but it was visible. I knew it was going on. And she just sat quietly looking at him. And he looked back at her. He at least was that open to it. But he was jiggling about in his hands, in his seat, couldn't sit still. And they also had an EEG on him. They had a big screen up at the front with her EEG on one side and his crazy-ass EEG leaping up and down on the other side. On her side, beautiful undulations like the Cotswold countryside. Within 3 minutes, I think it took about 3 minutes, his EEG matched hers. And he suddenly became like a much more centered person. And when he spoke, it was more interesting as you could follow exactly what he was saying because his energy had calmed down. So what's this got to do with everyday life? Well, for us, in the frenetic day-to-day lives that many of us have, it's about finding that bit of calmness for yourself. And that might be another person. Who in your life are the calming people? The people that you can go to, sit down with them, and you know they're going to lift your day, or they're going to specifically calm you all the way down. Some people are a calming presence for one person and not for another. So who is it for you? Make sure you tell them that and thank them for it. And often it's people that you don't even notice in the room. Might be loads of people there. You're not really focused on that person, but they're the one that is just sitting there loving everybody. So who does it for you? And can you do it for somebody else? Ask people, do I calm you down or race you up? There's a lot of good to be said for people who pep you up as well. But it's good to know who is the person who calms you down. So if you have to make a big decision, for instance, we can't do that when we're all over the place. We need to be in a different state. And they literally switch your brain into alpha state so that you can calmly and rationally access your best decisions. But not just rationally, calmly and rationally, and bringing your emotions in without them taking control of it. Anyway, that is a way that we can have more love and less fear. And that's what we want, isn't it? More love, less fear. See you tomorrow.